Guess who got brands talking? Brandlive.co.za.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to my show of Crime Uncovered this morning. I'm once again very, very excited to have a guest in our studio this morning. This is a lady where the word courage actually does not quite explain her actions of what she did. She was a shining light for other women. She opened up a case where other victims were able to follow the path, and she held that light for them. And this man is rightfully in prison now. He's serving 6 years. The man in question is a man by the name of Bob Hewitt. He came from Australia in the 1960s, arrived in South Africa and married a South African woman. And he worked as a tennis coach. He raped some of his victims. They were as young as 11 years old at the time. So he, because of this lady, and I'm going to just call her Olivia, that is her first name, she went and opened up a case against him. Other victims came forward, and as a result, he is now serving 6 years in prison. Of course, that's far too little in my opinion. However, I'm not a judge. Welcome, Olivia, and thank you for joining us this morning.
Morning, Silke. Thanks for having me.
Courageous lady. All right, so I'm going to ask you, how old were you when the abuse started, and how old were you when the abuse ended?
So, Silke, you know, they say when the abuse started, he started grooming me when I was about 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The grooming must have gone on for about 18 months before he actually raped me. Post that, it went on for about another 3 years before I eventually was able to leave him and find another coach. It was just something that we endured.
And Olivia, can I ask you, and you don't have to answer this question, can you give us one example of the grooming?
The one that stands out in my mind the most, in fact, is probably when he sat me down one day. We were at Squad, and he called me aside, sat me down on the steps, and told me that my mom had asked him to tell me about sex. He called it the birds and the bees, but he sat me down, and we must have sat there for about 2 hours, where he told me absolutely everything I needed to know about sex. I was 11 at the time.
Gosh. Okay. When did you tell your parents?
So it happened one Tuesday afternoon, and I tried to tell my mom. It must have been about 2 weeks after the event had happened. I tried to tell her, but she dismissed me. And he had told me that nobody would believe me. He had told me that he could get into a lot of trouble. And of course, when my mom dismissed me as speaking rubbish, it was pretty much, where do you go from here? Which was nowhere. So I kept quiet for about another 6 or 7 years before I said something.
Can I ask in what year this occurred? What years it was?
It was in 1982 that he raped me for the first time. I met him at the beginning of 1981.
Do you think there's more help and support for victims out there now, because there's more knowledge out there and more victims, very brave victims, are coming forward to talk about their abuse?
You know, Silke, I think that there is a lot of help out there. I just don't think that the support is out there. So it's all very well that we help people. I mean, I help people.
Yes.
But the justice system is failing them dismally. We were very, very lucky. We really, really were. So you know, it's maybe there's a little bit more help, but I don't think there's enough.
I also feel that the pedophiles, they know which children do not have a real connection to their parents, because research has been done on pedophilia and children with real self-esteem and children who have loving parents who are deeply emotionally connected to them. Pedophiles will not go for those children. Those are not at-risk children.
You know, you're 100% right. And what came out in the court case, I mean, it only came out in court that there were over 72 victims of Bob Hewitt. What came out very strongly, and it actually came out of his own mouth, was that his female pupils didn't have strong connections with their fathers.
Right. So I always say that children without a strong father figure are susceptible to trauma-bonded relationships, which is an abusive relationship. They are at risk of pedophiles, I should say, or pedophilic behavior, and they are at great risk of becoming part of the criminal justice system. Research across the world has shown this.
100%.
Were your parents supportive?
They were not supportive at all. I mean, throughout my life, you know, it's for me, it's still quite bizarre because I've never really sort of compartmentalized it or managed to organize it in my head. But I mean, I obviously never spoke to them about it, but I did speak to other victims about it. When I did go public and when I did speak about it, my parents didn't handle it very well, and they actually testified against me in court.
Okay, you could see the shock in my voice. Were
Yes.
they saying that did they say you were telling lies?
They said we were all telling lies.
That 72 victims were telling lies?
Yes.
Do you think this is because they feel that they failed you, or because they could not handle the truth, or they didn't want the hassle?
I think it's more about not them failing me, them failing as parents, and them failing as people. You know, my dad was very adamant when he was testifying that this man is an icon and he could never do anything like this. You know, my dad also stated very clearly, and he repeated it more than once in court, that I should just get over it. The judge was absolutely flawed. I mean, you should have seen the look on his face. But that aside, I think it was more about them failing themselves. I don't think failing me was ever part of their question.
Because I remember Bob Hewitt's wife saying he will never see the inside of a courtroom when you first opened up this case. Well, he's seeing the inside of a jail, isn't he?
Well, for 23 hours out of 24 a day, yeah, he is.
Well, let me tell you, this case makes me spit teeth with rage, and I want to say this. Bob Hewitt, may you rot in jail. May you rot there. I know it's only 6 years. He destroyed lives, because that's what pedophiles do. They destroy the lives of their victims. It is a long life shame that victims carry. And he got 6 years for that.
You know, Silke, yeah, he did get 6 years, but 6 years is better than no years.
Of course.
And you know what we did? We made history in this country.
You did.
If not around the world. I mean,
We did.
We did something that was just that we were told. I was told by friends I would never get it right. Well, you know what? I got it right. And 6 years is 6 years. He might die there. He might not. I've got a funny feeling he's going to come out. But he has got lots of time to sit and think about what he's done.
Exactly. And he also said, why is she bringing this up now?
He said that about one of the girls from America, yes. And he didn't want to talk about it at that time. So, you know, he knows what he did. I mean, he actually said in court, I think when he went to go to do his, to the SCA, he said that, yes, he did it, but it wasn't violent, so therefore he shouldn't go to jail. I think there was a reporter that nearly had an apoplexy. I mean, she wrote an article like you've never in your life. But he basically admitted to doing it, but said it wasn't violent or brutal, so therefore it wasn't that bad.
He just has no idea, does he? No idea.
Absolutely none whatsoever.
What was the tipping point in your life that gave you that enormous courage to walk into that police station and to say to a police officer, I want to open up a case? I am getting emotional.
No, don't, because you're going to set me off. You know, Silke, it was just such a weird sequence of events. No, I can.
We're allowed to cry. We're allowed to cry and we're allowed to swear on the show.
So it was a really, really bizarre sequence of events. And somebody actually contacted me. I'd already been trying to deal with it with a psychologist and a psychiatrist for probably about 7 months. And I got this phone call out of the blue one day. And it was like an angel had been sent. And through this man, he was a reporter from Boston. We started gathering up the troops, basically, because, I mean, I knew of 3 other girls that I knew for sure had been molested by him. And between us, we decided that we wanted this man removed from the Hall of Fame, the International Hall of Fame. We did not know that we could press charges against him. We actually had no idea that we could do that. And the International Hall of Fame acknowledged our request, but said that they wouldn't do an investigation unless somebody pressed charges. And then it was all like pretty much like a tennis match. No, you do it. No, I'll do it. No, you do it. No, I'll do it. And then I actually I got a bit fed up, and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go and do this. And I woke up one morning and I contacted a reporter and I asked him to go with me. And between the two of us, we found a police station that we knew for sure had a good victim support system and all of that.
Yes.
That was the Honeydew Police Station. They were absolutely amazing. And I went there and I opened up a case. And a year later, he was removed from the Tennis Hall of Fame. And a year after that, he was indicted. And I never, ever, for 1 minute, saw any of it coming.
Well, before we go to a break, I'm giving you a standing ovation.
Thanks.
And I know that there's secondary victimization, which we'll discuss after the break. But for those people who understand, and for the men who stand for that campaign that says, "Me too," for those men, I know that right now they have a lot of empathy for you, and they are probably fuming with Bob Hewitt also, because I know that a lot of adults, if they had known, they would have stood in front of you and protected you.
I hope so.
We are going to go to an ad break. We'll be back shortly. Don't go.
You're listening to brandlive.co.za, an industry first in the world of internet radio. Not only are we an internet radio station, we are an internet radio platform for your brand. So why not expose your brand to potentially thousands of listeners and improve your customer relationships and brand equity with podcasts and live broadcasts? Be sure to check brandlive.co.za for more information. brandlive.co.za, harnessing the power of internet radio. Making a bold statement yet blending into the surrounding suburbs of Melville, 27 Boxes is a realization of edgy design and practical implementation. A radical departure from the shopping malls of our generation, yet not a return to the high streets of our youth. 27 Boxes showcases the best of a shopping centre set in a garden, surrounded by the bohemian suburb that is Melville. 27 Boxes, shop, play, eat.
Okay, we're back on. I'm talking to Olivia, who was the first lady, the first victim who walked into a police station and laid charges against a tennis coach in South Africa, Bob Hewitt. He was in the Hall of Fame at the time. He has now been removed. She laid a charge of rape. She was 11 years old when she became his victim. There were many, many other victims over 70, and Olivia was the shining light for these victims. And it is only thanks to her courage and enormous bravery and enormous digging deep and standing firm in the face of what I know was people saying to her, "Don't do this. Why are you bringing this up now?" She stood firm and she carried on. Olivia, I know that you're a kind and compassionate human being. I know this for a fact. I've been following you on Facebook. Did you at times feel sorry for him during the trial?
I actually did. In fact, sometimes I still do. I'm not, that's something I need to unpack. I don't know why I do. So in short, yes, I do.
I think it's just that we feel compassion for somebody who's old, because as he said many times, where his wife said, "I'm an old man now." But I think that you did right by that little girl, that little 11-year-old girl who had nobody helping her as he carried out his filthy acts.
Yes, I did. I did right by her, and I think I've done right by many others as well.
Yes, you did, Olivia. You definitely did, and you get full credit for that. I mean, I know that I'm giving you a standing ovation. When I met you at that walk, and when I first heard about your story, I'd obviously followed you, but not a lot. I had to go back into this case just to remind myself. I did not realize I had met you, and I was actually in awe of you. Society often regards victims as troublemakers when they come forward. This is known as secondary victimization. Did you experience this in society?
I still experience it to this day.
What was the impact on your life of coming forward with this case?
The impact has been massive. Here I go again.
That's okay, Olivia. It's okay.
I lost literally everything. I lost my family. I lost my child. I lost everything.
Did your child turn against you also?
Yes, he did. Having said that, I will do it again if I ever need to. I lost so much. I even changed my name.
And can I say the name?
You're welcome.
It was Sue Ellen.
Yes, it was. My name was Sue Ellen, and I was told I was unemployable because of what I had done. So
Amazing what you had done.
because of what I had done. So I figured if I change my name, it'll all be good. And it's fantastic that I did change my name. I've got the most incredible job. Life's good at the moment.
That's good. And why did your child turn against you? Can I ask you that? What was his or her reasoning?
Do you know, I actually don't really know, to be honest. I think it had a lot to do with my mom, who obviously absolutely despises the earth I walk on because of what I did. And she pretty much turned my entire family against me. It is what it is.
Your mother sounds like a very influential person in your family.
She seems to be, yeah. Again, who knows why, but she is. She seems to.
So do you have no contact with your child and no contact with your parents at all right now?
No, I haven't seen my parents. In fact, I don't even know where they live. I haven't seen them for 10 years.
That's more pain, isn't it? Just pain
huge.
upon pain upon pain. The
huge,
rejection, because you are a victim of sexual assault and rape. You are the victim.
100%.
So therefore, you are the dirty one.
Yes.
You are the one that needs to be rejected.
Yes.
You are the unworthy one.
Yes.
Which is incredible and that society would say that you're unemployable. So what would happen? Would you go for an interview and the minute they heard what you had done, they deemed you as unemployable?
Not so much when they heard what I'd done, as soon as they recognized me. At the time of the trial, we were obviously on TV a lot.
Yes.
We were in the newspapers a lot. We were all over the show. So people would sometimes recognize me, and I was recognized. And I got a phone call one day to say, I'm sorry, but because of what you've done, you're unemployable. And I mean, it devastated me, absolutely devastated me.
You know, I think that society has an incredibly long way to go when it comes to victims of sexual abuse. I work as a polygraphist, as you know, and I know that women of sexual harassment, when they come forward, it is such a massive, massive step for them. It takes such courage. And in a lot of occasions, they are the ones to lose their jobs.
Well, exactly. I mean, not so much that you've just said about jobs, but as part of my personal challenge, I got back on the tennis court after 24 years, just because I was going to show him that I am good. And
well, I see you're in great shape. I should join you.
I find in the tennis circles, more than often, I get asked, why didn't you just leave him alone? He's an old man. You've ruined his life. I'm seen as a troublemaker, as you say. People don't understand or don't even want to try and understand why I'm out there. And there's a lot of rejection that goes on, or goes with, again, what I did. But that's not my drama, that's theirs.
And Olivia, the percentage of people who are against you, is anybody for you in the tennis circles?
Yes, we have a huge amount of support. I mean, we had a lot of support from Ray Moore, from Terry Rosenberg, who was the chairman of Tennis South Africa at the time. We had a lot of support from Billie Jean King, Martina Navratilova, Andre Agassi. So yes,
wow.
we did get a lot of support. I mean, Novak Djokovic actually messaged me the one day and said I'm his hero, and that's fantastic.
But you are a hero.
Well,
and
yeah.
Not all heroes can be loved and adored. Those who do not understand and those who are against you, Olivia, are they unevolved souls? I mean, how does somebody say you did wrong because you came forward? Where is the logic in that even? I have no idea.
People are it's just such an unspoken thing. It's just an anomaly in some people's lives, and it's actually not an anomaly. I mean, it's just everywhere, but people don't want to deal with it.
I'm hoping that changes. It will take years to change because I see in the media this is covered more and more.
Yes.
And especially with the Me Too campaign, there is so much more information coming out. And look at all the actors. Morgan Freeman is now suddenly in the spotlight.
I see so.
Yes.
I see so. And I said this at the beginning. It's fine now. The police or our justice system, they have to now entertain you if you walk into a police station to make a
open
case.
up case, yes.
The only issue is that it's not going further than that. And we had that same. They just closed our case after one phone call. The investigating officer just closed our case, and we managed to get it reopened. But I just don't think we are dealing with people that are equipped to handle what's coming their way and what's about to come their way.
They do not understand the effects of sexual abuse on children, how it takes away their innocence, fills them with shame, because sexual abuse survivors often say they feel a hole in the soul. There's that terrible emptiness that they feel blowing right through their soul until the day they die, and that they always have a sense of on the outside looking in.
Yes, there's always a piece missing because you can never quite understand. I think a lot of rejection comes with being abused.
Yes.
So you can never really quite understand what's wrong with you. And it is. What is wrong with me? What is so fundamentally wrong with me that I cannot be loved now? And it's because of what he did to me.
Yes. And a lot of victims report the same thing. Do you have moments of peace and happiness now?
Oh, I have many of those, more on the court than off the court. My happiest place is on the tennis court. Now, I mean, I spent hours on the tennis court. As I said to you at the beginning of this, I ran a total of 19 kilometers on the tennis court this weekend. That's a total of probably about 12 or 14 hours on the tennis court the whole weekend, which is a lot of time on the court. That's my happy space.
Do you think you're pounding your pain into that court?
I'm doing something, hey? I'm doing something.
Yes.
But yeah, off the court, I do have a lot more. It's a bit more every single day.
Okay, great. And the last question, because we are heading towards the end of our time. What are you doing now with your life?
I've got the most incredible job. I don't ever say where I work because my mother's stalking the crap out of me and just wants to destroy me. But I have an amazing job. I'm playing tennis again. I'm helping people. I've walked a couple of women through the actual court process, which is sometimes rewarding and sometimes devastating. But yeah, I think I have a purpose to serve. And going forward, I hope that I can help many more women get the same justice that I received.
Olivia, so many people say, I need to make a difference in life. And are you making a difference? You definitely have made a difference.
I
you
hope
definitely
so.
have.
I hope so, because then it's been worth it.
Olivia, thank you for being on the show. Yes, we did both cry, and I think we're both going to cry after this again. This has been very emotional. Thank you so much, and keep on doing what you are doing. Thanks very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
And please don't forget to join me next week on Monday morning at 10 a.m. I have another guest from a security company who will be joining us, and we will be talking about chasing hijackers.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
Brandlive.co.za.
Lunatic, 'cause I do what I want, and I get what I want when I want it.
Life can be so ordinary. Boy meets girl, they settle, make a baby.
Brandlive.co.za.